All right, hello and welcome to the third part,
Sweet potato.
sweet potato. The third part of these ReZero podcast type of stuff. I guess we have a special announcement to get into with this one, and we have a lot to talk about. Because this was going to be a more so OVA one, but I don't really feel like there's enough out of the OVAs to do something like that. So I think, and I mean just in general, I think this one I wanted to more go in the direction towards just talking about general stuff of the series, what you might want to see.
Favorite characters, maybe?
Yeah, stuff
Something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, like general information.
I'd say favorite, arcs, but
Yeah,
I kind of already covered that, but I guess I could just cover it again
yeah.
quickly.
You could mention your thoughts on the whole thing, all that, whatever. So we have a lot to talk about in terms of that, and then also the special announcement. But
Is that first?
well, before we get into anything, I gotta mention something because oh man, I have a story. I was ready. I was ready the moment this happened. So, the same night that we recorded that podcast episode, I had mentioned, like the previous one, I should mention, the same night we recorded the episode 2 of this whole thing. And everything. I actually forgot to make mine
Yeah, I
separate.
forgot to mute mine. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm sure that was loud.
It's whatever. But okay.
I just randomly got a new voicemail. There was nobody called. Oh, I'm confused.
That's weird. But okay. So, from the top, just
What the fuck?
same night that we had, recorded the whole previous podcast episode, everything, we talked about Arc 4. That was great. But I mentioned something with that episode, and I mentioned the fact that the insert song for episode 23 of season 2, What You Don't Know and all that, I mentioned how the fact that shit always manages to somehow make it into my Spotify queue. And the thing I was almost thinking was, I know Spotify's kind of lenient. At least I've learned by now it's very lenient. It'll usually go with certain things over others. That's just how it is. I've figured that out by now, on top of the fact that I've seen people saying it. And it's a playlist full of 600 songs, so if it's playing some more than others, I feel like it's lenient. I will say it's a bit weird that it's that one that's playing the most. Don't get me wrong, that's my favorite out of all the insert songs. But really weird that one out of all of them is playing the most, because the common thing I've seen people saying is Spotify usually will try to play whatever is the most popular. Odd that the one that came out the latest is the most popular, if that's the case, but okay. It's also for a character who is less popular than the other two options. But I'm getting way past the point here, because that same night, I'm just hanging out with some friends. They're playing Bounty Rush, One Piece Bounty Rush. I'm just grinding my own type of shit. We're all chilling and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I recreated my entire Spotify playlist, but on YouTube. I'm gonna play whatever's on my YouTube playlist and all this shit. So I hit shuffle, I go through the playlist, and we start off, Man Who Sold the World, specifically the Major cover. Don't get me wrong, the original is fine and everything, but I just prefer that cover and everything. Whatever, that's not the point. We go to the next song, Heavy Day from Guilty Gear. Alright, sick, I prefer that more than Smell of the Game, but that's besides the point. Even though that's a great song, besides the point. Next song, okay, the Studiopolis Act 1 theme. Also a great song. Still besides the point. Was a fun listen to for about 3 minutes, but still, whatever. Next one, Disaster of Passion. Don't know how we got two Guilty Gear songs pretty damn close to each other. But you know what? That's whatever. I will say that one's the least favorite out of all the Guilty Gear songs I have in there, but it's still decent. Besides the point. 4 songs went by. 4 whole songs, not on Spotify, on YouTube. 4 whole songs went by on my own playlist. And would you like to fucking guess what came on next? Would you like to fucking take a chance at guessing what song came on right after? I need to preface once again, playlist of 600 songs. It could be fucking anything. Do you want to know what it was? Well, I think you know what it was. Because, believe it or not, the 5th song that came on my fucking YouTube playlist, not on the Spotify one, 5th song, same day I discussed this shit on the podcast, was What You Don't Know. This song is a fucking curse to me. And I mean, technically it's a good one. I like it. Right? But like, man, I cannot escape this shit. Somebody's gonna like play it in public near me and I'm gonna have like a fight or flight moment out of nowhere. Alright, so anyways, welcome to this episode. I had to get that out of the way. And you know what, I think that'll be the first ever Brosticast highlight we'll do.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. But, okay. So we're here. That took a lot of my energy out just saying that whole thing. But, yeah, we have a lot to discuss for this episode. I guess we'll start with the announcement to not make people wait and everything. Because I'd rather not make people wait. I will say... I'll say this before the announcement, because I meant to also say this as well, and I almost forgot to do so.
Making people wait already, see?
Well, still, this is like part of it in a way. The last, I think, 10 videos, the last 10 videos have done so well at this point. What even is the oldest out of the last 10? The oldest is the 3rd episode of the podcast, is it? No, it's one of the things for the end of the year tourney, and also the video about a certain villain.
Have the other podcasts been doing so well too? I know
the other ones got more viewed as soon as like the first episode was released, but I will say, because of the podcast episodes and all that, and all this shit doing super well, usually YouTube says the typical views on the on videos, starting off and everything, is about like 10 to 50, which is a fair amount for like videos starting off and all that shit. And I mean, sometimes they are around that range even now. But that's the typical range. But we've been doing so well with this shit, in terms of like my reviews, all this, like people just watching the content, that out of nowhere with the most recent podcast, the typical views have changed from 20 to 60. Which isn't anything like too big from a certain perspective, but I feel like that jump is enough that it actually is a pretty big thing, so thank you all for that. I do know that people were actually watching the last one a whole lot. I think there were also some people watching the first one a whole lot, but like I noticed just the average view duration on the last one being at like 50 before, and that was pretty fucking huge. Even now it's still pretty big.
In a way it makes sense though.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, for the first one, it's like, hey, if you guys don't want to hear spoilers and stuff, some people might only go to, like, a certain part.
Yeah.
But once you come to the second one, we're talking about the second season, there's a good chance that if you're watching it, you're watching it.
I'm gonna turn off my phone. My current background is a fucking nuclear bomb with a timer on it. No, like not like literal.
The Buster call?
Not like literal. It's just like, man, if it gets seen at all, but so yeah. Anyways, moving on to the announcement. I mean, I guess we can say it here. And the good news about this announcement, before I actually say the announcement, I know that sounds silly, but the good news is the next few videos on the channel should be over already. The next Get Into, believe it or not, I mentioned this in the community section, but if you haven't seen that, the script of the next Get Into is pretty much done, which I'm really shocked I was able to accomplish this quickly. But like, yeah, it's fucking done already, so all I have to do is just get some help from a buddy of mine with like full proofreading and all that, just making sure it's all good. Then I simply have to record it, edit, and then we're all good. And that should only be like a week or two. So that's almost ready, and then the next ReZero review will be ready roughly around like the same time, because I don't have to do much for that. And I think while like my buddy's proofreading it and everything, I'll likely try and work on that next review. But I'll have a whole update video coming out after those two go up. But I guess the special announcement to say, because it relates to the fact that I've mentioned before that I almost do want to do other shit on the channel. I mean, I always do. But right now we've been in a weird state where we've been constantly doing ReZero videos. Luckily, this Get Into that's coming out will slightly break that cycle, and that makes me happy, because I don't want to just constantly stick to this and then give people some expectation that this is just what's going to be on the channel from now on. But yeah, the special announcement is that we're probably going to be doing more episodes of this this type of topic.
Oh!
Yeah. That's our special announcement, because
Snap!
yeah, the war against what will snap first, Marley's urge to keep going through the series, and the urge to resist has finally broken, and the former has won.
Only because of what you said.
I did mention shit, because I mentioned the fact that we have other people getting into the series. Like, for example, we have a cousin who was on the episode 4. He's likely going to just go through and read Arc 5, Arc 6, Arc 7, and all that shit. And then a friend of yours is also possibly going to do that. So it's a big thing of, like...
Sounded like they were going to read it, so...
Yeah, so it's kind of a big thing of, like, they're going to be talking about it, and then he's kind of left out, which is unfortunate. So...
It wouldn't be as bad for, something like One Piece, because One Piece, like, I've talked about this before, but, like, for example, One Piece, I don't care about some spoilers. I know about some things that are happening. I don't care. It gets me excited for it. But that only works with some shows.
Yeah.
And a very big story-driven anime is not one I would really want to know spoilers, which is why I don't really want to know any spoilers for ReZero, because
there's like a lot of
story-driven.
There's a lot of big reveals here and there, and it'd be unfortunate.
Yeah, with the way it is, it's definitely one of those things like Better Blind. Like, it's kind of like with Persona 5. Not just Persona 5, I think with any of the Personas. I want to go into them and not know anything about them. If I play like a Zelda game, and if I know something about it, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it depends. If I play a Pokemon game and I know something about it, whatever. Like, it depends on what it is and, like, how impactful the story is, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's not like One Piece's story isn't impactful, but it's also about the fights and other things. And it's a long anime that it's that's another thing, is one of the longer animes I don't mind knowing things about. And sometimes I don't mind knowing things about it when other people watch or have played it. I don't mind hearing, spoiler details.
It's also
but with ReZero, it's like, this is pretty much, like, we rarely get fights, and it's very, very, very story focused, and like all this stuff. And it's like, no, that is definitely something I would want to not be spoiled on.
Yeah. It's also like, I don't know, I will say for me, it's like the common thing of something like One Piece. There's, all kinds of YouTubers just making stuff as soon as a chapter comes out, whereas...
that's another thing, too.
Whereas with something like ReZero, it's not to say that the, like, light novel / web novel is barely known, because it is. Like, there are a decent amount of people who are caught up with the series and all this shit, or, like, getting caught up and everything. But I feel as though getting spoilers from that is, like, so much, like, less common on YouTube and all that shit than other series and all that shit. Like, I rarely see, even searching up shit of, like, arcs later, I rarely see stuff that is outright a spoiler. it's kind of impressive because given how people are with other stuff, like I know like the JoJo community and everything, it's like it's shocking to me that the anime community can actually go through and not spoil the series. It makes me happy, really.
Another one I
But
could
yeah.
think of. Actually, I kind of take back the Zelda one with like some games I don't mind, some of them I do because it's like I know I'm gonna play them, and it depends on like exactly what's going on with it too. Like some of the older ones don't really have too much story in them,
Yeah.
right? But like with Breath of the Wild, I didn't want to know anything.
Yeah, I'm
But
also
Fire Emblem is a good example of it's turn based, but it is quite heavily like the
Yeah,
story is very important, and I don't really want spoilers for that. Like I don't mind little like teeny tiny drops here and there about something, but like I don't usually want spoilers for those.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't give a shit about Kirby, Pokemon, Sonic. I don't care about spoilers with like stuff like that.
yeah, for me it's like I'm even like that to a certain degree where it's like I think the only game that I didn't want spoiled was like Metroid Dread, because it's like I don't know, that's a story heavy game, but even then I looked up like it myself because I'm like, you know what, I'm not in a rush to play the game, I'll just look, because why not. Kirby, as much as it's my like one of my favorite series, easily my favorite Nintendo series, it's like I don't care. It's very selective sometimes. I will say I am very cautious about ReZero myself with talking about it with people and stuff like that, or just even like having like, okay, here's the thing. My Steam profile pic at the current moment is the Sin Archbishop of Lust, and it's really not to. I mean, if you decide to go and look it up and see that, like, sure, go ahead, why not? But it's really not necessarily a spoiler fully to say that to a certain degree, because I will say they introduce themselves like that and everything. However, I will say I was very cautious when my friends, like, one of my friends, you know, I'm like playing Counter-Strike with them, and one of them goes, is like, oh, what's your profile pic from? And I'm like, oh, it's ReZero. And they're like, oh, it is? Like, what character is that? Or like, whatever. And I was just silent that whole time, because even though they introduce themselves that way, like, all this shit, like, you literally just see them and everything and all this shit already by that point. And, you know, like, they say their name, all that. It's just like, I don't know, I'm so cautious about that I don't want to say a fucking single word. And that created that kind of, like, problem for me where it's like, I don't really want to respond. Though, luckily, my other good friend who is like caught up on these series immediately answered the question, which was funny because I just told me, yeah, you know what, I don't know why I'm hesitating, but I'm very cautious about the series. I really don't like discussing it in such a way where it's like I could spoil somebody, because I really don't want to. I think it's something that you have to experience on your own and everything, and like see for the first time, and it's not something that like somebody should tell you. Of course, if somebody really felt like, you know, if they're like, I really don't care about spoilers, and they mentioned it to me and they wanted to know stuff, I could tell them, right? Like in that case. But it's like, I don't know, in every other case I'm just like worried and shit. Like I've said names in a like group chat and everything, and I was just worried about those names in general, because I'm like, damn, what if they just decide to go and look that character up? I'm fucked. But yeah, I'm very cautious about that and everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's legitimately the only series where I'm like that, because it's like every other series, like it'll be some shit of like it's the same day that like what?
I went to adjust the headset on my head.
Oh, I see.
There's no headset on my head.
Oh.
Because we're using the mic, right?
Yeah.
So I'm so used to having a headset on my head, I went to like adjust it, and I'm like, that's weird. It's right. We're doing Brosticast. We don't need no headset.
But it's something like with like where One Piece, like the new chapter will come out, and immediately I'll start posting shit and everything. Though I'll usually try and spoiler tag the like bigger stuff. But I'll immediately start posting shit and everything. But then, it's something like with ReZero, where it's like, oh, like new chapter out. I might read it and everything and enjoy it. And I will. I mean, I'm currently not caught up, but once I do get caught up, it'll be a thing of if I read it and I find something like amazing or some shit, it's like that other good friend of mine and everything. It's like I don't want to discuss it with him until I know that he's seen it. Like I absolutely have to be sure. I guess it's like a simple thing to do overall, but it's just definitely like there's a contrast between that and other series. I guess is overall what I'm like getting at with that. So yeah.
See, I was gonna say it's like for me maybe it's just getting into a series and like that's not true because Fire Emblem it's like it's very story driven, but maybe it's series that aren't super story driven. But I wanted Breath of the Wild Secret. Although Zelda is my favorite series, so that kind of explains why I wouldn't want it. I mean, I say that, and One Piece is my favorite fucking anime, so I don't know. Like, there's no consistency, but I guess it's different for an anime and the game for me. I don't know. There's no consistency for me. There's some consistency, but it depends. It just depends. Depends how I feel about it, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess onto the topic, though, right? Probably.
What?
Onto the actual topic now.
Oh yeah, I guess. Well, okay. Just final thing to overall say with that because I think we went a little bit off track.
Yeah, we did.
But yeah.
Yeah, we did.
So the big announcement overall is just, yeah, we'll be back with more.
Once I start reading.
Yeah, once you start reading, I don't know if we'll go per volume, per whatever you've read, per arc. Although arcs
probably the best way to do it.
It might
because
be,
we could just dedicate one to it. And just kind of talk about the arc.
That said, if you feel like really discussing something...
Unless we need 2 parts to it, but I doubt it.
If you feel like really discussing something, we can.
Yeah.
On the podcast and everything. Of course, that would mean spoiler warnings for people. I'm also going to say spoiler warnings for this because we're going to talk about shit that just, could be part of the anime.
We're talking about OVAs.
At least, like, the later part. We might talk a bit about the OVAs. I don't know. I don't know that we're going to talk that much because there's not much to say.
Oh.
There's not much to say, really, about the
True.
OVAs.
They were really cool.
Yeah.
They were nice.
We also might say... I've mentioned some stuff about what happens later, and I'm not going to go too in-depth on it. But if you really want... Like, if you as the viewer want to be fully blind on that and everything, I wouldn't recommend listening to that either. Just because I might mention some shit. Or bring that up.
You know what's funny?
Like what?
I say I don't really want spoilers for this, for ReZero. But there are a couple things you've told me that it did get me interested in it, though.
Yeah.
Is the thing. There's 2 things I can remember.
Do you want to just discuss it right now? Okay. Well, you can go into it right now, but let me just say this first.
No, I'll wait.
You'll wait?
I'll wait.
Okay.
Because then people can keep watching,
Okay, fair enough.
It's fair in that sense.
You know what? Yeah, then we'll give the warning when we have to later. Just know
Don't worry about it.
Just know that at the moment we will discuss the anime stuff freely. So keep that in mind. Anyways, I guess. Okay, here's how we're gonna organize this.
Yeah, I'm wondering how we're doing this because I'm like, shit. I thought we were gonna talk a little about the OVAs first, but now I'm like, how are we doing this?
If you want to say anything about the OVAs, I'd say do it now.
Okay. All right, I'll do it now then.
Okay. Yeah, just go ahead.
The first one was cool. It's definitely worth watching after the 4th arc / second season.
Yeah.
The whole second season, just because the foreshadowing that for arc 4.
Yeah.
For that second season that was so good.
Yeah, I'm curious when they
that foreshadowing that mayonnaise, also.
Yeah.
That fucking dedication. That dedication.
I love that joke so much because people look at it from the simple layer of she filled an entire bath with mayonnaise, and not from the extra part of she not only invented it essentially,
because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but she also did all this shit, like all these steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I fucking love that joke.
The dedication.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was really cool for that. It was kind of funny too. And you know what? I was worried it was just gonna kind of be funny and that's kind of it. But no, it was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like really good or anything, but it's pretty good. It felt like it should be part of, Arc 2.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like it fit there, where it wasn't
it
wasn't anything incredible for me, but it was good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it still.
That is around the time, after Arc 2 is around the time where most of my friends watched it. Unfortunately, the one thing is it does show characters and all that who appear in Arc 3, which isn't necessarily that big of a problem until you consider that Felt is there. And that one had...
Oh, yeah, that one too.
That one had one of my friends confused because they're like, wait, that's Felt. And I went, oh no, I forgot she was in there.
Yeah, that too. That's a bit of a...
Yeah.
At least all the foreshadowing for Arc 4 isn't as bad that way, but yeah. It is also, it's just very confusing and it's not as funny, but because we watched it after, after Arc 4, God, some of those foreshadowing moments were so funny, especially the Roswald Subaru mix mash.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And the mayonnaise, too. Because you didn't know about it.
By the way, I don't know if I said it in the last episode.
I know there was a few others.
I don't know if if I said it in the last episode when I discussed the OVA, but the sub on the Roswell and Subaru scene and everything, one of my friends pointed out something really funny, which was the scream that Ram does there for the sub. And one of my friends pointed out the fact that he was like, my God, that scream was the same as her fucking sister dying. In the sub, that shit sounds the same. And honestly, I heard it for my first time, because I hadn't seen the OVA on my own. And the first time I watched it was dubbed with another friend. And this time it was, subbed. And, watching it, I was like, no, that was just as loud. Yeah, was there anything else?
I think I remember that scream. That scream kind of made me laugh. I mean, we watched it dub, but it made me laugh. It made me laugh. It made me laugh. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't remember when that happened, but God. Yeah. That was funny. And then the other OVA with Amelia's
backstory and all that.
How do I word this? Amelia's post backstory, but still backstory. Because it's after her actual backstory that happens in Arc 4, because her backstory's in Arc 4, but this is the backstory after Arc 4's in a way. But, so I mean, or I could have saved the OVA till after too. But honestly, it was kind of nice to know, because it kind of made me go, a lot when her actual backstory came. So it was definitely better watching OVA 2 before Arc 4, in my opinion. But God, I need a haircut. But it was really cool. Meliquaris was
neat.
You just kept saying his name, and I'm just like, stop talking so highly about yourself.
Yeah.
Puck, shut this man up. Thank God he did.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked when I found out. I was shocked when I found out that the OVA even had, or I guess, side story / OVA even had a manga, because from the looks of it, the manga was specifically going down the main line. And I know this is something important to know in this series, but it did surprise me a little bit when I was like, oh shit, wait, that got adapted? And it was apparently a while ago. It was, I think around the same time that the OVA actually did come out. Maybe earlier. That's interesting. Anything else to add about the OVA?
No, Amelia's was really cool. It was like that OVA was really nice to like find out about her backstory. Thought the Black Serpent was dead. No, it wasn't. He's still Roman. The only one Roman.
Somewhere.
But yeah. It was good to kind of like know about all that stuff that happened, and I guess how they were together before as well, because like you didn't really see a past, like that's the past with Puck, and like Amelia's backstory, like proper backstory, and Arc 4 is the past with like before Puck. It was really nice to kind of see like the differences and stuff too, so it was really good. That was kind of I knew it was going to take long, but
okay, so we could do one of two things. We could talk about your favorite, or like how you'd rank the arcs plus your top 10 first, and then talk about your thoughts on the series, or we could do the reverse. I'd say that'd be the correct one to
top 10 what?
Characters.
Oh god, I gotta think.
Maybe reverse then. Maybe the reverse.
No, I'm okay with the characters. I have most of them. Okay. It's just a backhand 4 I think I have to figure out. Because those are the ones where I'm like, yeah, everybody else was still kind of question marky. Whereas, like, you know, others were kind of, after watching 3 and 4, it's kind of become a lot more clear, especially 4. But
I actually want to pull up my own list just because. Where did I? Oh wait.
Because I think the overall thoughts is gonna take me a lot longer too. And it's gonna be a lot more. Yeah, I think saying my favorite stuff is better first. What, do you have a list of characters for me that I can?
No, I'm choosing my. Or I'm going
cheat
to,
on.
I'm going to mine.
Okay.
Well,
shit.
I don't know. You could pull up like the wiki or something if you have to remember characters.
Yeah, sure. Wait. Isn't that dangerous?
Let me think about that.
I think that's dangerous.
Actually,
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's against my fucking rules. That's against the script.
I was like, you know what? Maybe it's not great if we go on like the male side, and then I thought about the female side. I'm like, oh wait, my favorite villain. Ooh.
I guess I can look at the male side, but
I
can kind of know
think
which
of
ones.
one problem.
What?
You know what? No, the male side.
I'm not opening it. That's what I said. I made the choice. Okay. Well, I'm gonna talk about the arcs first. That's it.
All right.
What was it? I guess I'll go least favorite to favorite.
Sure.
Okay. So this will probably change, of course, because we'll have to talk about this again once I, read more. And I'll have to, my characters might change too. Who knows? Although I think the top 2 are definitely uber solid. Maybe even 3 is solid. Yeah, I think top 3 is decently solid for me, but yeah, so the arcs, I guess start with arc 2, definitely my least favorite, enjoyable, but had some very repetitive and slow moments. I think that was the thing with arc 2. There was, like, I mentioned it during the review, but there were like 2 or 3 episodes, I think it was 3, that just for a couple minutes, 2, 3, maybe even 4 minutes, like, for all I know it was 4 minutes, it could have felt longer too, that's why I said 2 or 3, but maybe it was 4. In different episodes, different lengths, right? Why am I talking like this? I don't know. But yeah, I found those moments were very repetitive, but it wasn't just the repetitiveness. It was before the loop that got how do I say this? It was after okay, it was after a couple loops, but once we got to the loop where, Rem died from the virus, or whatever it was.
The curse, yeah.
The curse. Yeah, I said virus, like it, couldn't remember. The curse, that loop was perfectly fine. That loop was that was probably like one of my favorite loops of that arc, if not my favorite.
That's another nuclear bomb.
But, oops. I was trying to. I mean, he could have just said the loop where he jumped into the spikes, but no. And then I realized what I did. It's fine. But that loop was awesome. But before that loop, it kind of felt slow and just very, very, very repetitive.
That's understandable.
For a couple minutes, as I said, and that kind of, it didn't drag the arc down too much, but it did slow it down a bit for me, midway. But then also the comparison of every villain so far, every enemy so far, depending on what you're fighting, and weak-ass dog maw beast.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel like... I mean, I know Rem couldn't handle them all, but it just didn't feel as impactful in that sense. And it was an important arc for, building, the mansion and everyone in the mansion and everything. And having Subaru, get closer to all of them. But at the same time, it was my least favorite easily, just because there were those moments that were just, they didn't feel as, they just didn't feel as good as any of the other arcs did to me.
That's fine.
For that reason.
By the way,
but the rest of the arc was great.
By the way,
it's just
I want you to keep this in mind for when we come back to this whole series as a topic and everything. I personally put Arc 2 above Arc 1, but I can understand why you would put Arc 2 the lowest and everything. I want you to note, though, for when we come back to this, people put Arc 5 lower than that and Arc 1. I just want you to keep that in mind when you get there.
Okay. That was the arc that got me interested. You told me something about that arc, and that's what got me interested. I'm like, hold up, I need to read this shit. I need to get on this shit. I need to watch this shit. That's the arc that got me.
Yeah.
I don't care if I hate it.
It's.
I don't think I will.
I don't even know why people... Or no, I do know why. But I don't know the, thought process behind that.
I'm sure it'll be a good arc.
It'll be good. I see one problem with it, and that's one character who is, to me, in the same spot as Toady Jones and Asdef for please get out of the series so that it can make the whole thing better. I'm waiting for a fourth character to enter that spot so I can have the four horsemen of please stop ruining this series for me.
I thought Jiren used to be one for you.
I'm not gonna lie. People making jokes and shit about Jiren constantly has gotten me to like him, and I hate that. I've legitimately...
I like how strong he is and how cool he is. I just don't like him.
I like it. Yeah, no, it's I like his power.
So I guess that's different.
But that's just, that's the same problem I have with or the same situation I have with somebody like Asdef, where it's I fucking despise Asdef as a character. I would rather watch 30 episodes of Hody Jones doing something than her. But I can't lie, she has a neat fucking ability, and the idea of having such good control over ice that you fucking stop time is sick.
I don't like Hody. He hits the bottom of the list for me, honestly. Like, I don't like him as a character, really. I don't like him as I don't like him. I don't like his abilities. He got no abilities. He's just a weaker Jinbei. I don't like him. He's literally just like, to me, he just seems like a plain piece of bread.
Yeah,
who's trying to take steroids.
I've actually just now considered it right now. But
like, at least Esdeath and Jiren have something. Like, strength, need power. Sorry.
I guess.
Like, Hody is just a different thing for me.
The one thing I'll say about Hody is he's funny to me. Because I really like the idea of a villain who has to take steroids constantly to fucking win. That is
fair point. Fair point. You know what? Fair point.
I talked about him with my friend, and I'm like, that's the one thing I like about him is he grabs a handful of fucking steroids and just downs that shit, or like pill versions of steroids, and downs that shit, and it's funny as hell. And his crew warns him that he's gonna kill himself, but he does it anyways. But I've noticed something about those characters now. I just thought about it right now. And it is...
We'll get back to it, don't worry, guys.
We'll get back. We'll circle back. I've noticed the common thing of those characters either made me... With Hody and Esdeath, I skipped sections of it. I, like, started skipping Hody's backstory. I skipped Esdeath's, all that shit. Or with the ReZero character. I didn't skip anything, really. I did skip over their own narration, though. I skipped over any time they narrated. I paid attention to everything else. And the last chapter where they're not narrating was also nice because I got to read that. But yeah, other than that, like, I understood what was going on, but also at the same time I was also avoiding what the fuck that character was saying. Yeah, that's what happens with these characters. It's like...
You just need a fourth, got it.
Yeah, I need a fourth, and I get the Four Horsemen that just perfectly wrap this up. And maybe we get a fifth in there, since there are technically five.
Anyways. Soon enough.
Anyways, we can circle back.
Yeah.
Only thing I wanted to mention is just Arc 5 has a bad character, but other than that, it's fantastic. It has that, like, 2-hour-long chapter that I mentioned.
Oh, yes.
Which... It was 2 hours for me reading. I don't know how it was for other people. But I had to spend...
I reread a lot, so, like, sometimes I have to read something and then read something again for it to, like, completely sink in on, like, wait, what just happened?
I can always correct you, or, like, the comments can correct you. People have been very polite on the channel with corrections, and I greatly appreciate that. But, yeah.
Probably take me 5 hours.
Yeah, no, it's a long...
Not reading it in one setting. There's no way
it's a long
happening.
chapter. Like, even the Arc 7 chapters have not compared. Which, actually, I wonder if that's something on your list of things that you know about and everything, because I did mention that one thing with Arc 7. But, are you confused?
I don't think I understand what you're talking about because it's too vague for me.
Because I mentioned the 11-second thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's that. Yeah, hopefully I didn't worry any of you at home with what I had mentioned. But, okay, back to arcs. Arc 2 is your lowest. Alright, continue.
Yeah, so Arc 2 is... It's obviously... There's only 4 arcs I've seen so far, so we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. Arc 2 is at the bottom right now at number 4. It's not that it's bad or anything, but yeah, it's underwhelming to me compared to all the other arcs, and also it just had some very... Its slow moments were very repetitive or just a little boring, but because of the repetitiveness, of course. But the boring part comes in with, you know, the dogs a bit. Because there's that too. It's interesting, but yeah. So number 3, Arc 1. Taking like the 3rd place. Taking the bronze medal right now. It probably won't keep this bronze medal. This is the only time it's probably going to keep it. But I doubt anything will ever fall below Arc 2 for me, personally. I think Arc 2 is going to be like my bottom arc.
Yeah.
I doubt anything is going to get like worse. Especially because, like, from what I hear from you, Arc.
Yeah.
That was funny. How fast did you press that?
I think.
Like you said, Arc 6 is your favorite arc of any series.
Yep.
Arc 7 seems to be pretty good so far.
Yeah,
You seem to really like. You love Arc 5, and I'm excited about Arc 5 because of certain things as well.
I'm worried about Arc 7 a little bit. Like, that's the only thing I'll say, because I know about something that happens in a later chapter with it, and I still haven't gone to that. I've mentioned it a lot on the channel, but I still haven't gone to that. I don't think it'll drop below that much, though. The only thing it could possibly drop below is, like, the third arc. I don't think it will drop below the fourth. That's not to say, of course, once again, that I dislike the fourth. I do like it a whole lot. It's just a matter of preference and all that. Yeah, I think 7's still good enough, though, that it probably won't drop. There's probably nothing that'll drop below 2 for you. I kind of doubt it.
I like 2 is kind of like that. To me, 2 feels like the low point in the series a bit. And I'm okay with that. Like, honestly, if you're gonna have a low point in the series, if it's early on, sure. Like, or the lowest point. Not saying it's bad, because it's good. I did like it.
Yeah.
I was trying to say I do like it, but that sounds so caveman brain, so I was trying to change it mid-sentence there. But, like, I don't think anything is going to get, to that just kind of good part. Because I thought Arc 1 was great. I thought Arc 2 was great. Arc 3 was great. I thought Arc 3 was... oh my god! Arc 4... was fucking awesome. But yeah, like, so, yeah, I don't think anything would drop below that. There's always a chance something could drop below Arc 1 for me, but I do doubt that one too, because it is the, like, prologue kind of thing. But I do still like Arc 1 a lot, so. But yeah, back to that, sorry. So Arc 1... I loved... It was slow at the beginning, but not a bad kind of slow. A slow, like, where are we going with this, Like, where is this going? And that's kind of what I liked about it when seeing it. It was a whole, where are we going with this? Not, this feels kind of like it's slow and maybe a little uninteresting because it's slow. But I had this whole question in my mind of, like, where is this going? Where is this going, right?
Yeah.
And then once we looped, I realized what was happening. And I was like, oh, yeah, right. His ability. Duh. You told me about that before. I just didn't remember until it happened. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. That's why he got stabbied. Because he can... Right. So... once he looped the first time, it was just like it was great. I loved, like, the different scenarios in which he struggled to, like, get her pendant or whatever it's called back.
Yeah.
Her crest.
The jewel.
Yeah, the jewel.
I don't know, whatever you want to use.
Yeah, but the jewel's in, like, some kind of, like, crest or pendant or something. I think crest is more appropriate, but yeah. And I like the kind of, like, different scenarios and, like, which it happened and, like, how it happened. And then it just, like, the way it kind of concluded was really cool as well. Especially with Reinhardt coming in and showing you, how strong characters can get.
Yeah.
It showed off a kind of balance as well of, like, this is kind of like top tier. We're already getting introduced to a top tier.
Yeah.
And then you got where we're at. And you're just like, well, damn. I'd never even realized that until, like, I started talking about this right now. Like, damn, that's a good introduction to, like, a power balance right there of, like, how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot. I really, really liked Arc 1. I liked the whole, like, partially because he was just confused. Like, sure, he got it eventually, but he was very confused because he didn't know what was going on. By Arc 2, yeah, he knows that he loops. But for a while, he's struggling, he's confused, he doesn't know what to do, how to save her, how to still meet with her. He's not, like, in contact with her. So now, like, he has to try to figure all that out and get what she wants back, too. And it was just very well done chaos. And then we got my second favorite so far, Arc 3. Mm-hmm. So how about... So, like, that start to Arc 3 was... That got me bouncing off my seat, practically. Like, oh! With the whole, like, just the whole... The candidate thing, and, like, the whole thing there, and then the Julius, and I know the Subaru thing is hard to watch as he, like, breaks, but God, was it so good still. Yeah. And it just made me feel... It made me also realize that, like, the show is gonna be... It's gonna be a show that actually has the main characters have problems with each other. Yeah. And it'd be, like, you know, a thing, and, like, a human thing where you have to work it out. And this is the part where I started to see that, yeah... Arc 2, I saw it a bit as well, but this is definitely where it started to show a lot more about, like, you know, Subaru being written, like, as an actual human being, and even more so in Arc 4, from what I saw. Just, like, that's also something, too. It's, like, scaled with him, with that whole, like, being written as a human being, at least from what I've seen so far. It feels like it scales with every arc. And I love that. And we didn't get, like, a whole lot on, like, Amelia in Arc 2, because it was about the, you know, ram. Took me a second. But now we're back to kind of Amelia, but now Rem's important too. And now other characters are going to end up being important, like Julius. I didn't even cross my mind.
Oh, man.
That was, like, one of the things I didn't even... I was like, ha!
Man, you know, you saying that just reminded me.
Don't even get me started on Felt.
You're probably gonna really start to like Julius. Because from this point onward, I'll just say it, but from this point onward, they're gonna build on him, all right?
Oh, jeez. But yeah, it felt like... Don't even get me started on her. And Cruz was pretty awesome. Awesome. Trying to talk too fast, my bad. But yeah, it had all of that, and the whole witches cult thing, the first archbishop, and, like, the loops, and the whale fight, and Wilhelm. I don't even know. Like, there was just so much, especially, like, in the later half of it with the whole Rem episode. Starting from the Rem episode. Like, yeah, it was slow for, you know, the first few loops. The last loop doesn't involve that. Or, the last two loops, should I say, don't involve that. Yeah. Because, yeah, the first episode, right. But, like, the whole, like, back half of the arc was just chock full of shit. And it was awesome. And then, like, the first bit, too, was chock full of stuff, too, because of, you know, everything we had to learn. And it was just... It easily takes that second spot because of that.
It also, I mean, I don't know if this adds to it for you. But also Arc 3 ends on quite the interesting note.
Yeah, that too. That's a big one too. Definitely. I'm not gonna say it, but and
fucking say it. We're talking
I already love Rem Comatose. Yeah. That super interesting one. That one got me freaking a bit. But
So, yeah, I told you
and
you
then,
were
like,
ready for it.
so far, in my opinion, the coolest Archbishop showed up too, where I'm like, I hate him, but I already like his character.
To be fair, you've only seen one of like 7, and you've seen 3 of 7, albeit one of those 3.
I didn't get to see anything really.
You got to see him in an episode, and that's about it.
Yeah, you could kind of take a glance, but like, the reason being is I just like love how like kind of like he doesn't give a shit. Why are you standing in his way? Get out of my way! Who put this card in my way?
Oh wait, I didn't realize we were talking about Regulus. Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking about Regulus right now.
Oh yeah, no.
Like I'm already like, I hate you, but I also already love you.
A lot of people really love him as a villain.
Like, he just felt like a good villain right from the get-go, where he's just like, who put these carriages in my way?
Yeah, no, that shit's funny.
Oh.
Yeah, I know he's a lot of people's favorite.
Laugh too.
He might even be my friend's favorite. I don't remember.
So far he's my favorite, but it's because I saw 3, and one of them I saw like a second of.
Yeah, I don't really remember. I might have to actually ask him again. For me, I do decently. I have him decently high, but I do prefer one other Archbishop who people know by now, who I hold much higher and everything, and you'll get to see them soon.
I figure I know who it is too then.
You probably do.
You talk about profile pic and stuff, and I'm assuming it's that one.
If you've seen the Steam profile pic, then yeah.
No, but I'm assuming the one you're talking about is, Lust.
Oh, yeah.
Like you were talking about before.
Oh, yeah.
With your profile pic on Discord and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. And I even mentioned it was your favorite.
Yeah. Yeah,
But, yeah.
I personally hold that one higher and everything for a multitude of reasons.
Fair. I've only seen 3 still, so.
When we get to there, we'll get to there. I'll explain my reasoning. More so to you, because I think people by now on the channel know.
Hell, it could be the same for me. Who knows?
Yeah, it depends on how you do it. I might not even be able to say the full thing until you get to Arc 6.
Although, it's funny. It's funny I say that, because like on the flip side, I already hate Gluttony.
That's fair.
Because I'm like, Gluttony is that type of character. Like, he definitely seems like a good character, like well written, but he's a type of character that I just will tend to hate usually. Like, in terms of like, I fucking hate you. I hope somebody kills you, or at least throws you in jail or some shit. But I'm guessing the Archbishops are gonna die, so I guess. But yeah, anyways, my favorite arc 4. I don't even know.
That's it, but
I don't even know where to begin with that one, cause like there's so much story building, like so much, because of the witches, everything, the stuff with Echidna, Roswald, Beatrice. Fuck, what's her name?
Echidna.
No, I said Echidna. Pink hair. Long pink hair.
Ryuzu.
Ryuzu, thank you. I want to say Remy, and I'm like, it's not Remy. She's not a rat who cooks in someone's head. Fuck.
I just got a horrible edit idea in my head. Fuck you. I just got a horrible.
Well, like just her face replaced with Remy's.
No,
and she's like in someone's hat.
You're saying that? Oh my god. You know what? Fuck the thumbnail I made. Fuck the thumbnail I made. I'm making an edit.
Oh, I love it.
Alright, continue.
Oh, fuck, I'm crying. Okay. So yeah, Ryuzu. And just everything with Garf too. We got a little bit of Frederica, like not a whole lot. It was because it was Garf's backstory, but it still like gave her a bit too. Like it wasn't like she was left out there. Otto became so much better, and I'm like, okay, didn't expect that from you. I expected you to be the annoying little bitch.
Yeah.
But you went from annoying little bitch to holy shit. Dude is awesome. I like this guy now a lot. Subaru and Amelia and their whole thing. Everything with Amelia, like during the trials, and then the interactions with like her and Echidna, and like the White Rabbit again, Roswald and all the shit he does and everything, and just again I gotta say all the story building because it added so much depth to it all, and like meeting the other witches was really cool too, and it was just like it just felt like it was compact with just so much. And the fights were so good, especially my favorite fight so far, the Garf fight with Elsa. That was holy shit. And it made me love a lot of characters more too as well. Arc 4 definitely like fleshed out a lot of characters. It's partially why like Otto just seemed like he was kind of gonna be a bit of an annoyance, but then he like kind of like Donkey from Shrek, who helps once in a while. That was a good way to put it. Yeah,
Interesting.
he uses the carriages, the wagons. He delivers stuff on those things. It's the same thing that Donkey pulled for Shrek and Fiona, or Donkey sat in when they went to Far Far Away. It's fine. It's same shit. Same shit.
Interesting comparison.
Same shit. But the fucking wagons look the same. God. But yeah, there were just so many characters in my opinion that got so much more substance. Like even Petra, I liked all the kids in the third arc. They were nice. In the second arc, they were nice. They seemed like they didn't seem like bratty kids, but they were also messing with Subaru. But Petra seemed to have a little more of attachment to him, so we got a little more with her, but not a whole lot. I didn't really expect to get anything with like the kids. I didn't think they were going to make the kids important. And Petra's at the freaking mansion, and now it's like I actually really like her character. What the hell? What is this show? Seriously, this thing keeps throwing me for loops. I love it though. Like what? Arc 4 just had so much there that and I'm sure I'm missing shit. I'm positive I'm still missing shit. I mean, there was the stuff with the White Rabbit too, but we didn't get as much as we did with like the whale. I don't think I'm missing any. Oh, Subaru's past in Trials. That's Trial. Well, no, Trials, yeah. But the second one didn't really last long. And that whole like bet thing, and there was just. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's why it's top for me.
Do you have your top 10 ready?
After talking about this, it's a little easier actually.
Alright.
I think I've chose the right order.
Okay. Let's hear it. I also want to see where some characters might fall for me on my list. Like in comparison. Although I know there's 3 on there that won't be the same. I say 3 because I know for a fact 1 won't be on yours probably. But anyways, continue.
Give me a second.
Oh, okay.
If you want to talk about something, go ahead.
Uh,
Notepad.
Alright.
I'm not gonna remember them all, and I want to go like, from 10.
I will say.
I want to go from 10 to 1. So I'm like, crap. I have to write these down because it's easy to remember my first few, but then and the last few are where I have to think, so I might fuck up and I don't want to. So
Fun fact about the Arc 5 review, people. This shit was the same for me because I only knew, I think, my top 5 and I didn't know the rest. So, fun fact about that video, that shit took longer than the others because of that. I mean, technically speaking, it didn't take longer than the others given the fact that you could consider the Arc 7 video, but I don't think that's really fair given the amount of time between the Arc 7 video and the Arc 6 video, and also the stuff in between. But I do want to note that, it did take...
Having fun there?
Yeah, I am. It did take me a while to think of 6 to 10, whereas, with the Arc 6 video and the Arc 7 video, that was a whole lot easier because I already knew the rest of the list. So all I had to do is just think about where I wanted to put characters and what characters I wanted to take off. Even then, I was still not super happy with my Arc 5 list because I know I put one character on there and I was like, well, you know what, I'm enjoying that character a lot and I like the theories around that character, but I don't think I have enough of that character to truly put them up there. Whereas, the other character that was on there that got added via Arc 5 and all that, I think was a good addition. Actually, I forgot there was 2 characters that were added because of Arc 5. I think they were both good additions. One of them, of course, is no longer on the list now, but the other one still is right on the number 8 spot. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. That's still there. The other one, if somehow we got more building on, I definitely could see it being back up there. But yeah, I think my list is pretty cool. I really like...
I don't know his name. I just typed down Wolfpack Dude.
His name's Ricardo. And,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're going to get a specific comment if we don't remember that. So it's a good thing we remembered his name. And
I'm just writing down the possible ones,
Okay, good to know.
That's why I
and
need
speaking
a
of
little longer.
Speaking of possible ones, I kind of forgot.
Because I just need to see the names in front of me, and then I can... Honestly, I really
I'm
like
fucking
you as a
speaking
character,
into the
I don't
mic.
know why.
Speaking of possible characters, my fun fact, my possible characters still remain the same. I mean, it's still...
God, my favorite character is the White Whale. I'm kidding.
It's still Julius, Krush, Al, and other character that I cannot name at the current moment. At least I don't think I can name them. I guess I could mention them, but I mean, I don't know. You know what? Technically, it might be fine if I mention them. So anyways,
No.
Okay, I guess not. So
It's
anyways...
fine. I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. So anyways, my possible characters of Julius, Krush, Al, and Louis,
I remember you mentioning that character to me before, actually.
yeah, I've mentioned their name and that's it, and don't worry, that's all. But yeah, those characters are part of the possible
Don't forget Ravi.
characters. Yeah, and Ratatouille. But they're still on the possible list. They haven't moved or anything, in case anybody's curious. The current updates on Arc 7 is really just how far I am, although I do plan on reading more, possibly today and maybe tomorrow. So perhaps something could change. Maybe I'll enjoy other characters.
No.
Fun fact about the later arcs. Did you know that...
No.
I'm still speaking into the mic still, so we're just going to talk about other stuff. Bee facts. Did you know that I would not hesitate to eradicate every bee on Earth? That's an interesting fact. The same goes for wasps and hornets. And also mosquitoes. They don't really fall into that group, but I'd also eradicate them if given the chance. Maybe flies as well. I don't know about fruit flies, but definitely normal flies. I would definitely do that too. Another fun fact.
Okay.
Did you...
So, this is a rough estimate.
Okay.
Because the bottom 4 are very questionable. Like, the top 6 are easy. The top 6 are very easy right now.
For me,
the bottom 4 is kind of flexible. I'm going to mention the people who are, I guess, honorable mentions. And, we see if they go up more.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot someone. Continue. I have to think again.
So back to what we're doing. Fun fact. Did you know that I would also not hesitate to eradicate every single centipede on Earth?
God,
I don't know what they provide. Maybe I should look that up before eradicating them. In fact, I mentioned eradicating bees and flies. I think they provide stuff. I mean, bees definitely, flies I think do.
Okay, got them down. I have to figure out the order. Ish.
Fun fact about numbers. Did you know that after 9 comes 10? I know, that's really weird that a number with the number 1 in it comes after a higher number. I can only count up to 4 though. So that's an unfortunate thing for me. But, you know, I thought that was a neat fact. Another fun fact. Did you know that I would not hesitate to kill a spider if it frightens me? I feel as though it almost takes my life in that moment because I almost have a heart attack, and therefore it is only just that I kill it. Should I? Probably not. In fact, it probably means no harm to me. But I would not hesitate. Another thing, I would not hesitate to pick up a butterfly. That was it. That was the fact. Another fun fact. I would not hesitate to eradicate moths. I don't know what they provide either. And maybe that's also a problem. But I think that if I eradicated them, people would have more clothes. And I think that's nice. Did you also know that I would not hesitate to eradicate earwigs? What do they provide? Good fucking question. Get out of my towel or I will fucking kill you, is what I have to say to that. Another fun fact. Did you know the color orange is orange? I wouldn't know because I'm colorblind. But
Partially colorblind.
I'm partially colorblind. But, you know, it's orange. That's kind of shocking. I don't know how people can think such a thing. Did you also know that the current time right now is 4:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Actually, wait, no, that's incorrect. It's
What's his name?
5 o'clock EST p.m. That's interesting, isn't it? It's also July 14th, Thursday.
When's this going up?
Tomorrow.
So it's going to be confusing for viewers.
Yeah.
You're going to say tomorrow, and they're going to be like, but it's today.
Yeah. Fuck
And it
them.
went up. What does tomorrow mean?
So fun fact, you'll be watching this 22 hours from now, except technically speaking, considering this is an hour in, you'd actually be watching this 23 hours ahead of when it's going up.
Shit.
Along with 13 minutes.
Shit! That's crazy. Didn't think about it that way.
So that's kind of neat.
It's very neat.
Another fun fact.
Okay. So, this ain't working.
Oh.
I don't think I'm gonna come to a decision fast enough.
Here's what I'll say. Because this is what I do.
Are you okay if I say 2 characters for 10?
Sure.
And say they're stuck together. I honestly, while doing this, I figured out which one of the 2 sisters I liked better. Because they were stuck at 5 together.
Yeah, I was gonna
Hugging each other as sisters do.
I was going to say, if you can't figure out a proper estimate, just do rough estimates of where characters are at. Because, I mean, I did that for my Arc 5 video. Some placements I didn't feel were correct.
Like it's gonna shock you a little.
And I corrected them. Alright, go ahead. Hit it.
Okay.
Number 10 first. Actually, no, start from 1. Because
What? Start from 1.
Yeah. Okay, no, do we want to do 10? Let's do 10. Or do we want to do honorable mentions?
I want to do honorable mention.
Okay, then do that.
Wait, do what?
Honorable mentions. Right? You mentioned you had honorable mentions.
I'm doing the honorable mentions first?
Yeah, we're going from the bottom.
That's very backwards.
But we're going from the bottom to the top, right? We're going from the bottom to the top, right? Fine, we'll do the honorable mentions after.
I'm confused.
Go from 10.
Okay. Okay.
Those
So
are
the
some
honorable...
Continue.
But it's just throwing me off because I didn't move names. So I'm just trying to categorize... Okay, hold on. Let me put like a little star beside them to be like, hey, you're that. Hey, you're that. Hey, you're that. Hey, you're that. I think that's reasonable. Back. I didn't calculate something. I was stuck with who's at 10, but I didn't calculate who was 9. Oh, I got it. It's easy. Never mind. It's actually really easy. And it's fine. Don't worry.
Alright.
Okay. So honorable mentions are Otto, Frederica, missing some, Reinhardt. They're all really awesome. But I think for me, for now, there's something like missing from them a little bit.
That's fair.
That's like, it's kind of like with, who was it? There was a character that felt like they were missing something. They were missing a bit of something for me, personally, at one point. And that resolved itself. Like, later on. I can't remember which character, but there was a character like that. And Reinhardt, Otto, and Frederica are in that situation. I really like Frederica. Like, she definitely has quite a bit to her, but I would like to see more of her to be able to figure that out. And I know you said, like, yeah. Oh, I did forget an honorable mention. Sorry. Roswell
Fair enough.
and Wilhelm and Krush. I just realized, wait, we're doing honorable mentions, so I can just name
I
them
have
all.
Wilhelm at 10. That could very easily change.
Yeah, so they're all honorable mentions because they're just I feel the same thing with all of them. I just need a little more, I need a bit more on them to like define it, but they're also like honorable mentions, most of them, because like we've gotten a decent amount for Otto. I don't think he'd move up for me. He's the only one who's probably going to stay an honorable mention because like we've gotten a decent amount from Mark IV. Like a good amount that, he would have moved up if he was supposed to. But the rest of them are, I need more. Especially someone like Krush and Reinhardt and Frederica. I feel like those ones would easily move up. Okay, now here's where it gets hard for me. So, this is going to sound weird, but at the bottom, at number 10, tied right now, I'd say, Petra and Fel. I actually, after this arc, I'm like, I fucking love Petra!
Believe it or not, there are a lot of people who hate her.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's like, if I remember correctly, legitimately, it's some shit like, I think Petra, who is it? Petra, Puck, and one other person might actually be the person I don't like, but I don't remember. I've just seen like a common overall opinion on the like wiki, on Twitter, on all that shit. That people don't enjoy these characters, but continue.
Wait, what?
I was saying continue.
I'm just making sure I did this right. Sorry. But yeah, I really like Petra because I mean I like Felt for the same reason as I did before. At the beginning was like she seems really awesome. She's a very like I love her whole personality and how she is, and especially with especially with her as a candidate as well, where she just doesn't give a shit. She's gonna do what she wants, but like she's gonna do what she wants to, make things right for everybody, because she wants to just tear down this whole system so people in the slums can be okay. And it's like there's something about her character I really, really, really like, and as I'm talking about it, I think Felt actually outright wins. So never mind.
Okay.
We're gonna go Felt. Petra's an honorable mention.
Alright.
I have to talk about it a bit to realize it. Alright, Felt's number 10. Wait, I realized what I did.
What?
I might have accidentally screwed up.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Okay, so Felt's number 10. But because I messed up, Felt's gonna tie with someone?
Do you need to figure it out again?
No. I just need one. No, I got it. Okay, so scratch what I said originally, unless you want to cut it out.
Nah, we'll just scratch that.
What do you mean?
Oh, like we'll just continue.
Okay, because originally I said it was Petra and Felt. It's not Petra and Felt anymore. It's Felt. This one might come off weird as a surprise, but Minerva.
Huh.
I actually, when we met the witches, she kind of caught my eye and actually really liked her as, a character. I liked how she was. The others were really interesting, too, but there was something about her that, I liked her whole personality, and I think I think part of it was the whole complication that she has of, she's the Witch of Wrath.
Yeah.
But, she heals people.
Yeah.
And, that kind of shit of, you mentioned she doesn't really like fighting and such.
Yeah.
So it's that whole thing kind of makes it ironic in a way, but it's not because of the irony. It's because of that interesting character, and then she honestly, from the conversations I know, the anime, it wasn't supposed to be Minerva.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be
who talks about how Minerva didn't show up for reasons and all this shit, and it's how there might be something related with Minerva and Amelia.
Yeah,
we don't know.
But there was something about just the conversations she had, I guess, with Subaru, with that one with Amelia, even though it wasn't supposed to be her.
Yeah.
She said what she said instead of somebody saying something else. So they changed it, but I actually liked her as a character. So I realized what I did wrong, because I tied somebody at 8 and I didn't move the person at 10 up. So I tied 2 people, not at 8, at 9, and I didn't move the other person up.
I see.
I didn't move the other 2 up. So once I realized that, I was like, oh wait, but I have 2 people tied at 9. So technically, but I know how much I actually really Felt, and as I was talking about it, Felt kind of outright won. And I'm like, no, I'd say Minerva would be the one who's tied with Felt. So Minerva and Felt right now, for me, are tied at 10, because both of them have very interesting characters, in my opinion. And I do really like both of their characters so far. However, I want to know more about them. And then I could kind of come to a bit more of a clear decision, I guess.
Mm.
But of like between the two, but there hasn't been too much with either of them. But there's been a good amount, and I do really like both of them so far. Like they're both very interesting, and I kind of want to know more. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll get more with Minerva because, yeah.
Yeah.
But might get more with Felt, so that might at least change it. It probably will. Felt's awesome. Minerva's pretty cool.
Mm.
Felt's just kind of so badass and just. Okay, number 9, and this only happened because of Arc 4. Elsa. Because of Arc 4.
I guess that's fair.
Honestly, I wasn't really. Her character was interesting at the beginning.
Mm.
But as time has gone on, or not time has gone on, as like Arc 4 kind of happened, her character has become very interesting to me. In the sense that, like, what her character is. Like, she was just, like with that short little backstory we had.
Yeah.
She's a vampire. She's the
By the way, I don't know if...
Bowel hunter, and it's like, it's cool.
I don't know that she was born a vampire or anything, because I remember the whole thing of... There's a side story. It's not really a spoiler too much to say this, as long as I don't go into other details about it. But I remember there's a side story that mentions she had some, like, experimenting done and all that shit. And that's what I think allowed for the whole regeneration and everything. So I don't know that she was born that way. I might be wrong, but I don't know that she was born as one. Continue. This is just something to note. Might have been. I don't know. I haven't read that side story. I don't even know if it's translated. But yeah. Proceed.
Oh yeah, but she's just very interesting in to me because like she's also very. She comes off to me kind of like Crocodile in a way. And that I guess that's kind of what I liked a lot as well. I guess she kind of looks like a female crocodile with the hair.
I guess.
But that was funny to say because people always make the joke about Crocomom. But yeah, she comes off to me like kind of similar what you told me about Crocodile and like how he comes off about like just a villain for kind of being a villain in a way. Because that's kind of what she is.
Lie, also does do something very similar to Crocodile that I do really like. And it is what like people refer to, and myself included, of punching up. In case you're wondering what punching up means.
That.
In case you're wondering what punching up means, I'll give you the example with Crocodile. And I'll try to give more context for people who don't know One Piece. Crocodile is a decently strong villain, but not somebody who's that insanely strong. His immediate action when he is able to break out of prison and go to this big war that is happening, his thing... So I should point out that he lost to the main character, Luffy. Luffy did not have any sort of upgrade or anything, or like any power-up he could do at that moment that he lost to him. It was literally just Luffy as a regular rubber man. He lost to him via that. Crocodile's immediate action after breaking out of prison and getting to that big war is to fight the world's strongest man. His immediate action is go after that man and fight him.
And I guess, that's what Elsa did with Reinhardt, right?
Yeah,
Elsa's just like...
That, and there's one you don't know about, and I don't even know if the anime will cover it. I'll explain it later when you get to a certain point.
Okay.
But she does that shit twice, where she punches up to somebody who she cannot win against, and she probably knows she won't win against. And she just does it anyways, because fuck it.
And I do love, like, her fights and the way she fights. Like, she's part of the reason I think I liked Arc 1 a lot too. Because, like, the fights with her were really good.
Yeah.
And I didn't see fights like those until, well, we got to Arc 4. Like, I thought the best fights were, like, Arc 1 at first. And the best fight being Reinhardt and her, because that was, like, as one-sided as it was freaking awesome. But then, like, Garf and her fight, and it's like, okay, you guys take the cake. But, yeah, that's kind of her thing, is, like, that whole kind of crocodile aspect. Differently, though, of course. And I really like the way she's done. And done as a villain as well. And, like, I really like the whole... her whole fighting as well, her fighting style and the way she fights.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's number
9.
Thanks. Wait. Yeah. Okay, next. Echidna.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Echidna is like, she's a terrible person, but she is such a good character.
My favorite villain's a terrible fucking person as a whole, but man,
like, Echidna and the one above are, I'd say, close in the sense of, like, I could switch them. But I'm gonna put Echidna here because I think the one above is gonna stay above or go up. I just really like the one above. But Echidna, I think it's kind of easy to tell, especially, like, you know, if you're watching this, you've seen at least Arc 4, so it's kind of easy to tell that she's such a good villain who doesn't even come off as a villain for a while.
Like,
she's a good villain who kind of who tricks you into thinking she's good.
They build her up in such a way where she actually does a good job with that. Yeah,
she's built up so well as a good person, and then turns her head and goes, "Nah, bitch."
It's also the perfect thing for me, where, like, it's odd to say, but it was always hard to tell that, like, it might sound like I'm stupid, and I am kind of. But, like, it was always hard for me to sometimes tell the line between a sociopath and psychopath. And you know what? ReZero gives you that perfect line of, there's somebody like Elsa who is a psychopath. They are doing something wrong, and they know they're doing something wrong. They're well aware of it. Whereas Echidna is a sociopath. She is doing something wrong, and she is blissfully unaware because she thinks she's going down the correct, like, path in life and everything.
But I love her whole, like, double face in that way. Her double face is great. It's so good that is the pretty much single reason she's at 7 or 7? No, 8. Sorry, 8 for me. Like, she could move up maybe, but I don't know.
I did very much.
I did this kind of quickly, right?
Yeah, but I did very much debate on putting her on my list, but
like,
the 4 honorable
she's such a good villain, and also she's just such a good, like, it's not just the villain part. She, you know, she's like helping Subaru and everything, and, like, assisting him with things, telling him to, like, you know, take the trials and other stuff, and then she just wants to make this deal, and then it's like, well, shit, okay, she's fucked up. All right. It's just that, it's that huge, like, turning point on top of just the whole thing with Emilia too, about, like, her and Emilia and her resentment to Emilia as well. And, like, she hates her, and it's just like, sure, you're a terrible person, but I really like you as a character. Like, you're awesome as a character. You're so well written. And then the one who's next, who I do not think will fall, who will probably rise once I learn more about him, is Regulus. That's 7. Because literally what I talked about before. Yeah. Just what I talked about before. He's, like, from the get-go, he's just awesome as a villain. Like, he's so awesome as a fucking villain. Just, who the fuck put this in front of me? He's like a world noble, except really good, not one that you just hate.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, he's a world noble, but a good character, and that's a One Piece thing, but... They're all snooty and everything, you know? But, like, this guy's just greedy as shit. We got like, a bit of him in Amelia's backstory, too, and I loved it. I like, he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care. He's like, don't you fucking talk to me like that. Don't you fucking leave that shit in front of me. Who's putting this in front of... Like, he does not accept it. He will wreck your shit if you do something he doesn't like that.
Yeah.
If you're rude to him, he will wreck your shit. And I just love it. I love it. I love it as a character so much. Then we have Rem. So, yeah, as you can tell, I decided between the two of them.
Yeah. Bitch.
I don't even know... What?
I'm joking. I'm not like most people in the like anime
love
side
Rem.
of the community.
I love all of them.
That's fair.
By all of them, I mean Ram and Amelia.
Yeah, no, the anime side of the community is rabid. But continue.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to say about Rem. Rem is awesome. The dedication, the love she has for Subaru, like that she shows us, and like just the whole like, just her whole character building and everything that happens in Arc 2 and 3, and that whole thing is just incredible. Like, that's why she's 6. It's easy. It's just that easy. I think she was the character. Yeah, she's the character who I did feel like something was missing still a little bit for me. And I think it's still there. Like, even though I have all this in the anime, it's still kind of there for me that I feel like there's something a little more I need for her to just like shoot up the ranks, you know? I doubt my number 1 and number 2 will change. But she could easily jump to like 4, 3, maybe. Maybe. 3 is debatable, actually. I don't know about that one. But like, I really like it's from the whole scene of like, you know, the one death. Yeah. Where her like crippled arms and legs and everything, and she went to Subaru and was like, I love you. And like the whole scene of like Subaru giving up and her just pushing him. It's so touching, and like, and just everything else she does too on top of it. All the devotion, the fucking mayonnaise, as we've already said. Like, she's just really, really awesome in that fact. And that's why she's, like, easily number 6.
I hope they restock that fucking episode 18.
But number 5 is actually Ram. It might sound weird to a lot of people, but listen. I think what defined which one I like more, because Ram is one of those characters that like can get the personality could possibly get a little annoying, because Ram is one of those characters that like at first I was worried she was going to be one of those characters who was like always just kind of bitchy to Subaru for whatever reason. That's what I was worried about. I was concerned about that for her. So I was like, probably like Rem better anyways. Not the case. Yeah. I like Ram better. Yeah, no. And not by much, as you could tell. I was debating on it for a while. But I think the key moment that struck it for me was the I love you to Roswell. Like, the fact... the fact that she can... Like, I know Rem's thing with her whole speech and everything she did with Subaru was super touching, and like that's why it was like, oh, this is such a struggle, because for some reason I really like Ram's character, and I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know the reason, but now I kind of do. That confession was like, she tried it, to me it was like she tried her hardest not to fall in love with him, but she just couldn't help it. She spent so much time with him. He took care of her, even though he, you know, like, killed her race, got her horn chopped off. Even though all that happened, he's the one taking care of her. He's the one treating her. She's loyal to him because of that.
Actually,
Well, she was loyal to him, like, you know, at
I
first.
just realized you're gonna learn.
What?
You're gonna learn something interesting later.
What? She was... It wasn't like she was loyal at first, but she was more so like, you know, just listening and doing what he said, and then it's like she became loyal because she started falling for him, and it was like that kind of change kind of, I think, nudged her over for me, because it's like I just, it's such an interesting spin on, like, and like Rem's is very good too. Don't get me wrong. Like, Rem's, like, whole "I love you" speech is huge. But hers is such an interesting spin that I don't think I've ever seen before. And it's, like, it's hard to put a different spin on that. You can do it. But, like, a spin like that kind of... At that kind of level, so hard to see. And, like... Both of them, I gotta give them both congrats for, like, what they did. Jesus, but even though they're just anime characters, but still, like, Ram is just, that whole thing just nudged it over to me, for me. Like, I can see. I think part of what, like, was getting to me at first, like I really like Ram, and I'm not sure why, is because, like, sure, she acted that way, but you could kind of tell. You could tell there was, like, something going on in her mind that kind of, like, made her sometimes be that way. And also, like, she still cared about everyone. She still, like, loved everyone.
You know, a big thing with Ram.
She's a very good character because of it.
She doesn't like seem this way when it starts, but as you get, like, further and further into arcs, it's very clear that she's stubborn and doesn't show... I'm gonna say, like, her actual thoughts and shit on certain things and stuff like that. Like, she very much hides that type of stuff and everything. Yeah, it's an interesting thing where she's just trying to look strong and everything and not, like, actually mention anything. And I think it does add to her a lot.
And I think it adds to it as well because, like, you know, her sister was the weak one, so she's trying to still be strong. So it's like she probably feels obligated to do that.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to make her sister worry. So it's this whole, like, sister complex going on between the two of them. Where, like, both of them are trying to do better for each other because of what happened. And honestly, it's fucking amazing. Alright, now we get on to my big cheeses.
Alright.
Emilia's next at number 4.
Alright.
You know how I said those three? Yeah, they're basically, like, touching each other's backs. Although I think Amelia is a little further than the other two. For me, at least, personally.
I'm curious about the third now.
Yeah. So Amelia's number 4. Oh, yeah, because you know 1 and 2. Now you're just sitting there like, wait, I thought Amelia was 3rd. Hold on.
Yeah.
What is 3rd? Amelia's number 4, and, like, holy fucking shit. For so long, I was very... I wanted to say that she was my favorite character for so long because she was so good, and she's still so good.
Funny enough, I had the
just other characters have gotten better for me personally, and that's the only reason why she's at 4. Hell, you know what? I don't even think Regulus can jump over her. I think Regulus's top spot, like, if he gets so much better, would be 5. I think this top 4 is decently hard to beat, especially the top 2. But, like, damn. just the amount of shit we got from her backstory and just the growth with like from point A of her trying to, you know, be a good person and save the people in the forest that she didn't know, but she did know, but she forgot. Because things happened. and like just like all the interactions with Subaru were very, very nice and very touching. Like you could tell she cared so much, and I do really like a very caring character. But she wasn't just a caring character. She had her faults too. She had that huge fight with Subaru. She also had another huge fight. And then she got over it. And then she was good. She like struggled. She went nuts. She cried. She fucking like there was so much to her that happened in Arc 4 especially that it's like holy shit. And it just easily makes her number 4 for me, like, and that's why I'm like, damn, these top 4 are like holy shit for me. But it just easily puts her up there because for me, and she stays up there because of just all of that. I love that kind of personality, but I also love how like after Arc 3 I was very heavily debating on saying she's easily like my favorite because I just love the way her character grew there. But now, holy shit, her character grew even more here. Although the other 3 got her a little beat, but fuck, like I fucking loved it. I loved her character the entire show, and it's just gotten better and better. And like, holy shit, she could take the 3rd spot, but right now she's 4. What's up? What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, funny enough for me, I had the effect of like, I got that she was the main heroine for a while, but like, I think a big problem for me early on before Arc 4 and everything, was the fact that she was, most of the time it felt like she was just there. Arc 2 she's kind of just there. Arc 3 yeah, she's there more, but she's still just there in the grand scheme of things.
Arc 1 she took more part in things.
Yeah, so like very early on I didn't have much of an opinion, whereas, you know, Arc 4 and onward I feel like she's gotten better and better. And that's definitely helped her, like, improve my opinion for her, for me, where personally now she's like at number 6 or something like that on my list.
Such a good character.
Yeah.
So number 3, he's gonna be happy. Garf.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
He went from like, this guy's fucking like crazy, to I love you. Especially after that fight too, and like his whole building and that fight, and just, oh my god.
Yeah.
Him going from like a Bakugo state to this.
Irony, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, he's just a fucking a million times better Bakugo.
Yeah.
and this whole thing with like he cares about his family a lot. He wasn't like, you know, just against it. He wasn't. Oh man. He was just afraid. He was hurt. He was like torn apart in a way, and then he regained his composure thanks to Subaru. And like, fuck man, he's just such a good character. Like, it's so hard to go in depth with it because he's so well done. And I know that sounds weird. I just have trouble going more in depth when things are well done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into specific shit, of course, but I will say, Arc 5 will get you pretty damn happy with him.
And okay, I think actually this gives me another point with Ram that I forgot to mention. Is like the whole thing about when he woke up, he was on her lap because she was just being nice to him. But like, I think that's what she said. Yeah. But like, she cares.
Yeah.
It's just she has a hard time showing it because of what happened, and it's like
No, she cares for the whole group and everything. It's like she just doesn't show it. She wants to look strong.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, because like what happened, I'm sure.
Mm.
I'm sure that's the reason. I mean, at this point, it's probably just fucking habit for her. But yeah, but Garf is just so well done, from like changing from the hyper aggressive person to, you know, like I'll get angry decently, easily at times, but like I'm a well written character who wants to help, who cares, because I do care. But I was letting my anger cloud me, and it was such a good like flip of the switch, man. Ay. Number 2, Beatrice.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Betty. Fuck, what do I even say about her character? See, I tend to struggle when I, like, the higher a character or an arc or anything goes for me, I tend to struggle a bit, because to me it feels like there's so much to say that's good about them that it's hard to, like, explain it for whatever reason. That's the part where I get stuck. But I've always loved Beatrice as a character when she came in. She was very interesting. I loved her whole, like, personality of, like, she kind of doesn't want to help, even though she wants to. It was kind of the same. It's this similar to Ram, but for her it doesn't seem stubborn. It seems like she's just kind of, like, tired of shit. It seems like, you know, there's something going on, and when we find out her backstory and everything, and, like, all that shit happened, when all that stuff happens in Arc 4, I'm just, like, my mind is kind of blown, especially with those scenes with her, like, you know, crying and begging Subaru to just, like, tell her that he's that person, so she can just leave, and, like, the struggles she kind of had to go through because of how much she cared about her mother. And, like, I don't know. I've all even just her character from the start was super interesting to me.
That's fair.
And she was already, like, from Arc 2 alone, she was definitely one of the contestants to be my favorite. Like, she's like a Emilia Regulus mix for me, if that makes sense. Second she showed up, I fucking love you already. Regulus, same thing. From the get-go, you were one of my favorites. Emilia, same thing. Put them both together, we got Beatrice. But yeah. Okay, my favorite character, Subaru.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Tend to have this thing where I do really enjoy main characters. And I didn't think Subaru was gonna fit that bill. Like, after Arc 3, I was like, okay, you're definitely, like, you know, top 10, maybe top 5 even, you know? I was like, damn, you're really good. Probably top 5. But you're a really good character. Like, you're so well written. And the whole, like, your whole growth there in Arc 3 was huge. But then Arc 4 hit. And it was just like, what even? Like, his character growth, I didn't even think it was possible, because it's like, to me, it felt like his character grew so much in Arc 3, and I was like, there's no way his character's gonna grow more in Arc 4. Like, how are they even supposed to manage that, right? especially like right away. But it felt like his character grew even more. Everything that he did, everything that he tried to save everyone, and just like him growing so much in that fourth arc, not just with himself, but also with Emilia now, side by side, with Garth now, in a way, side by side, because he's saving him, with Otto, in a way, because, well, Otto's character grew, and Otto was helping him, and, like, just... He's just so well written in the fact of... I always quote you when you say this, because... It's what you told me, and I 100% agree every single time about he's written like a human being. Not like, a character. He's written like a human being, and I love it. You can see him struggle, like, through everything. And I love it. I love him as a character. So much. Yeah, that's it.
GP.
So yeah, that's my list.
I don't know if we have to do thoughts on the entire series, honestly, because we talked about the top 10, we talked about the arcs, all that.
Yeah. I don't think we need to.
Yeah.
And the reviews of the entire series were their own. But I guess I could say something. So far, this has been an amazing journey, and I'm only 4 arcs in.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I'm excited to see
it has been incredible. I loved every moment of the anime, pretty much.
I'm very...
Like, I loved every moment of the anime. I know I mentioned, like, certain parts that were either slow or just, Arc 2 had those moments. But I do mean that I loved the entire series so far. Like, it was in... like, I was considering, One Piece, you have a challenger. Right now, I took it back because One Piece does not have a challenger. It does not measure up to it for me yet. I let it kind of settle down a little. Definitely doesn't measure up yet. It's not there yet. However, several arcs from now, they may be fighting again. But One Piece is not done either, and the last saga is coming up, which is supposed to be like the best thing ever of the entire series.
I mean, the most recent arc wasn't too great.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
So I don't know my thoughts on it. But yeah, it all kind of depends on the rest of both of the animes in a way. If ReZero knocks it out of the park, it's going to be hard. But then if One Piece does the same, it's not that hard. It's easily ReZero too. But like, the anime was such a treat to watch, and it's like, I did have the content information, and now I'm going to start reading, but I can't wait to start reading in a way because I know I'm going to love it. I definitely love this series. I love how these characters... And the biggest thing is that the characters and the story for me. I find the growth of the story and the characters are the biggest points. And the fights are very interesting too. And I do want to see more fights. So I am looking forward to Arc 5, partially because of that. Okay, cool. We got so much story and so much character growth that, sweet. There's going to be quite a few fights. Awesome.
I
can't wait to see that.
I'm very much looking forward to when you get to Arc 6. Because I think we're going to hit a point with Arc 6 where you're just not going to be able to save it for a singular video. We're going to have to do this like throughout multiple entries of Brosticast where it'll just be like a section where we're talking about it.
Jeez. But
at least that's what I think.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. But sorry. But it has been so amazing, like, watching it, and even doing these two. It's been a lot of fun sharing my thoughts about this. And I know Brosticast is a you and me thing, so it's like it's always going to be you and me. It's not like we're not doing it without me. But it's been awesome, like, being able to share all this. Like, in a video like this. And I loved it. And I'm glad we're doing this. And ReZero is just, it's awesome. Like, I don't know why you would be here if you haven't watched it or read it, but if you are, for whatever reason, please do. Like, it is so good.
I've made the get into for this reason, albeit
If you need cut content and you're one of our friends because you want to watch the anime, message us.
Yeah.
If you're just a viewer, you need cut content. Careful, but
a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, but I mean,
if you're
at
cool
least
with-
the site has, like, you know, it says episode 12 and it doesn't actually tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And then, like, you can drop down. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can link it in the description if you want.
I could, yeah.
If you're a viewer, he'll link it in the description.
You could also read the manga if you feel like it, because if you're cool with that. Because I feel like that
The manga's
does. Fuck! I just realized by saying
almost
that
halfway
was-
through arc 4. But manga's very good, and then after the manga, you can just go to, you know, the web novel.
Yeah, a web novel, light novel, whichever you feel.
Yeah, and
preferably web novel, but
Preferably.
I mean, light novel's not bad. It has
there's just the one thing you told me about,
It has stuff included. Well, that's for the. Oh yeah, I guess that's fair.
and that's why I was like, I think
for-
web novels.
I forgot about the translations, but yeah. The light novel does include extra stuff though, which is nice, and the light novel does fix those chapters with the character I was talking about.
But I highly recommend this. Like, it is.
It also fixes
So
Starfield's
good.
talking.
Like, if you want something story-wise and you want something character building, look no further. Seriously. I have not seen anything this good in a long time. And, like, the only thing I can think of is Persona 5 Royal. And even then, I don't know what, you know, Golden and FES hold. But, and not to discredit, you know, my favorite anime and my favorite game, because my favorite game story is really, really good. But it's also because I really love the gameplay, although same with Persona. But it's different reasons is part of it as well. But as for anime, I just love the lore and story of One Piece so much. Like, that's just it. But if you love that kind of stuff, I highly recommend this anime. Like, definitely. Because, like, holy shit. Just for anybody who's here watching.
No, I hope they restart the thing too.
But, yeah, it was so amazing watching this all and everything, and, like, every moment of, like, things I didn't know, and when things were happening, especially in Arc 4, and I was just like, what? And it was just worth it. It was worth all of it. My goodness. It is just, my overall thoughts are really just, the anime, just ReZero in general is extremely well done. Like, I don't think I've ever seen or read anything that was, like, this well done in terms of a lot of things. Because I know One Piece has some faults, like shitty arcs and other stuff. But ReZero seems, I wouldn't say flawless, but I'm gonna be real, almost flawless.
That's fair.
Like, so far, I'm kind of like, if it wasn't for that bit in Arc 2, I would say this anime is flawless.
That's fair.
Like, those things in Arc 2 that I mentioned that put it at the bottom, easily flawless in my opinion if that wasn't there. Or if it was, like, better for whatever reason, you know, if it was done better and it's, like, the same thing, but just, yeah. I just, and hopefully I'm not hyping it up too much for anybody who wants to read or watch it or whatever. You know, don't go into it thinking this is going to be, like, the most incredible thing ever and then you're disappointed, right? But go into it with an open mind. But this is just how I feel about it after watching the first 4 arcs and learning about the content too.
Mm.
And the two OVAs, but those are like extra things. But my goodness, it was just so good.
I guess before we ended off and everything.
I'm not sure if there's any other thought I should share.
Well, I was gonna ask because you mentioned the spoiler stuff. Do you want?
Oh yeah, right.
So obvious warning of just thank you for listening and goodbye.
To those who don't want to hear this.
Yeah. I'd say just click off now. Thank you for listening. We'll see you back whenever, with possibly the next Get Into, whatever it may be, all that, or another episode of Brosticast. But yeah. Anyways.
I guess this does encompass my thoughts in a way, because what got into the anime was one of these two things we're about to talk about.
Mm.
So it definitely encompasses my thoughts in a way.
Yeah. Proceed.
So, Arc 5, I was told about how it was similar looking and designed-ish to Water 7, which is my favorite saga / arc in One Piece.
Yep.
That was how you got me interested in it. And I remember you mentioning to me, like, everybody, like, you weren't sure how they get out of this situation because everybody was on the floor beaten, and all the guys were, like, threatening to knock down these pillars.
Yeah. So,
and if one of the pillars falls, everybody fucking drowns and dies.
So how it works is there's 4 pillars in the city, and if even one breaks, whole thing falls down, everybody drowns. Pretty much everybody dies in that scenario. And the problem with that, because I mentioned this, the problem with that is there's at least one person at each pillar just ready to knock it down, and they are very well capable of doing so. So it's kind of that thing of like, fuck, we have to, like, they probably have to meet their demands, otherwise they're screwed in this scenario, or like some shit, like, I don't even know how they're going to beat them. That's like the overall thought I had, and that's what I mentioned. Yeah, Arc 5 is a really, like, fucked scenario.
And that's what got me interested in the series, because once I heard that, I'm like, oh my god, that sounds amazing and badass, and like, holy, that sounds fucking intense. And also, a Water 7 kind of themed city, I am so stoked to see that.
Yeah.
Like, that is what got me interested. And, you know, unfortunately, it took me a while to still get to ReZero after that. It took me quite some time still. I think several months, but it's whatever. Happens.
And the second thing?
Oh, okay, yeah, this got me interested too. Right. So this is also part of it. Chopstick Man.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, was that not the second thing?
Well, I'm assuming it was.
Okay. Yeah, Chopstick Man. Basically Mihawk.
Yeah. So
With
I
the
had
dagger.
brought up a certain Arc 6 character. Obviously no details and everything. But I mentioned the fact that he uses his chopsticks and everything, and he uses them in such a way that they're not coded in anything. He doesn't have any special powers, anything like that. But he's capable of using them as if they were a sword. And I know that got you really interested. I made the comparison of Mihawk, and I know some people could mention I make a lot of One Piece comparisons with this type of shit, and I even said that on the review. But to be fair, in a scenario like this, I think it's fair.
Honestly, I think it partially works a lot because I think both of the series, they don't do similar things, but they do things so well that it's so easy to compare them.
Yeah.
And like that's why I fucking love both of them. But yeah, that comparison with like, you know, how Mihawk just easily, super duper easily beats Zoro with a fucking dagger. No chance. Just like, he's got 3 swords. One of them is in his mouth. I don't give a shit. I got a dagger. A puny dagger. And he cut 2 of them with it.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. And I loved it. He showed Zoro how fucking much of a fucking gap there was between them. And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, who is this guy doing that to? And also, not just that, like, how is this guy so badass he can use chopsticks of all things?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
No,
I need to know.
The beatdown he gives is, oh my lord.
Like, god damn. Oh, right, and then there was that other thing. The 11-second, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got me very interested, too.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, I already kind of watched the series.
We had been a few episodes in. Like, we were on, I think, the third arc and everything.
Yeah.
And that's when I mentioned it.
And you mentioned an 11-second loop, and I looked at you and went, excuse? Because I was talking about, like...
Yeah.
About, like, maybe one of the reasons that Arc 2 seemed a little draggy was because it was, like, a 4-day thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why it felt redundant. You know, looking back at it, yeah, I think maybe that was it. Maybe that was because it lasted a bit too long, where, you know, they had to skip more time and not just show a montage every couple minutes. Or, not every couple minutes, but every, like, couple minutes for a couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't need to really do that part.
Yeah, no,
But
I remember reading...
I could understand it being important, too.
Yeah,
But.
the context of that one, I guess, is I had just got done reading the chapter of that 11-second stuff and everything, which, if anybody's curious, yeah, that was essentially the night that I finished finished Volume 4 of Arc 7, which pretty much determined that the review was going to be made from that point. And the day after, I ran downstairs and immediately had to mention the whole 11-second shit, because I feel like it was just really important. I didn't go into details, of course, but I mentioned that the time limit on it was 11 seconds.
I will say, actually, yeah, Arc 4 made it not feel redundant, the 4 days, because Arc 4 was also 4 days. Didn't feel redundant, didn't feel shitty at all, didn't feel like... Yeah. Arc 2 had a bit of it. It's like, that's weird.
Well, it's just because of how Arc 2 handled it versus Arc 4.
Yeah, Arc 4 handled it fucking beautifully.
I don't know if...
Another credit to Arc 4.
I don't know if the other thing interested me more.
But that 11-second one was like, what? Like, how the fuck did he get out of that in 11 seconds? He doesn't even have time to think. He's gotta just go practically. He has 2 seconds to think or something. Like, it's absurd.
I don't know.
Because we were talking about how long... I think I asked you how long the loops get. And you said, 4 days is, the longest it gets. I'm like, oh, okay. And you're like, and 11 seconds is, the shortest. I'm like...
No. I didn't know about 11 seconds at first. At first, I said, 5 minutes is as short as it gets.
Oh, okay.
But then I...
Oh, yeah, that's why you told me about the 11 seconds. Because you were like, correction...
Fuck.
5 minutes has been beat. It's now 11 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Also, 5 minutes sounds pretty crazy too. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see that. But fuck, 11 seconds.
Yeah.
That is absurd. You said that was the craziest shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's one other thing that I don't know if it interested you or not.
What was it?
I
don't remember everything.
Mother of the assassins and all that.
Oh yeah, that was interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Mama.
Yeah, because I essentially brought up that, of course, because that's part of cut content. But the thing I brought up that isn't part of cut content that I did want to mention, to him, was...
cut content, but stuff that you brought up, might as well say it. The thing where Marley says she's safer.
That one wasn't part of cut content, but I wanted to mention it anyways to you, just because I felt like it's a big thing.
Oh, I thought that part was.
They really don't go into it. It's fine. What they do bring up is the fact that Marley wasn't supposed to be there.
Oh yeah, right.
But
somebody else sent her there, right?
Yeah, somebody else sent her there, not Roswell. But part of that was something I mentioned was, Marley feels safer in that prison than she does being near Mama, and that is something it's a note I really love, because it gives some context about things without but the way I made it more vague, it doesn't fully give context. It's almost like a half type of thing, and I like that, or rather I like how I worded it and everything.
Like
in such a way.
for all we know, going by this logic, now that I just thought of it, Elsa could have been totally fine with dying there, because she fucked up. She's basically losing a second time.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna get screwed over by Mama. Rather go out this way.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that kind of makes sense now.
Yeah, no,
saying it out loud.
If I
Because
had to
Marley
guess-
just fucked up a second time technically.
Mhm.
So it's like, if she feels safer there,
No.
that means maybe she's in shit too.
Now, it should be noted that Elsa doesn't really fear death. Melee's a different case.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Elsa doesn't really fear death.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, fair.
But it should be noted that, yeah, either way, it probably would have been death. Or, I mean,
Could have been something worse too.
yeah. Because I will say, the punishments are usually death or worse. Which is weird to say, or worse, to something that the first option is death. But
Yeah. Well, Marley fucked up once, so it wasn't death that she got. What was this or worse? She fucked up a second time.
well, I think, like, if I had to guess, because I don't think they go into it, a fuck up once is like, okay, this is your one warning.
Probably. That's probably why both of them were. I mean, as much as Elsa probably didn't want to die, there's still the or worse option,
Yeah.
which means she might not want that.
Yeah.
So that might be why she, like, partially openly accepted, well, yeah, I did lose, but I guess I don't have to fear Mama.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's kind of just interesting thought now that, yeah. But yeah, that was very interesting too. That was probably the thing that, like, it didn't, like, it excited me to kind of, okay, cool, like, I can't wait to kind of, like, find out about this and stuff, but it's not as exhilarating as, like, the rest of them. The rest of them are more like, whoa!
I will say, here's what I'm going to mention. The specific point that you should be able to figure it out, like, figure out something about it. If you cannot figure it out by that point, I'm just going to outright say it because of shit being locked behind side story content that you'll probably never read. So I will just outright say it if you, like, get to a certain point and don't figure something out.
Gotcha. Alright.
Yeah, so that's about it.
Yep.
And, yeah, I don't know what next week's episode will be like. Maybe it'll be One Piece, maybe it'll be something else, I don't know. Maybe we'll have just Jacob back on randomly. Or I say next week, but, like, next episode, I don't know. Debatable.
He did want to come by.
He did. That's true. So we could do another episode with him.
And
Yeah.
of course, we'll definitely have a One Piece topic once we hit, like, October.
We do have a lot to catch up on in terms of that, because a lot has happened since then, and
Yeah, we'll get there.
yeah,
We're close.
yeah, it's almost done. Like, done from the hiatus. We have a week from now, I believe, because today's Thursday. Yeah, today's Thursday. So a week from now, we will get the new chapter, and that's exciting. Even if some of the more recent stuff hasn't been that insane. But yeah, that's it. And we'll see you all later. Bye.